Hey guys, welcome back. How's it going? Today I want to talk about Resident Evil, where it kind of started, where it kind of went, where it is now, and maybe what we could see in the future. So the first time I ever came across Resident Evil, it's probably the same for a lot of people, is the RE1 for the regular PlayStation. Um, See, when I grew up, we lived in a town, a small town, in Canada, northern Canada, and it didn't have a lot of places to go shopping. So it didn't have, like, it had a mall, but it wasn't really a mall. It was just considered a mall, I guess, but not really. Um, and it had a Kmart, but at the time, Kmart didn't really have much of a electronics department, I guess. And I guess when the PlayStation was first coming out, there wasn't much for electronic departments. But one thing my hometown did have, it had a video store, a video rental store, and it wasn't like a Blockbuster or anything like that. It was called Video Stop. It was its own like standalone video store, I guess, and you could actually rent consoles from it. They brought in a few consoles, and you could, pay so much and rent them with a game or two. And so one day my brothers came home and they had this PlayStation. It was like right when it first came out. And I was like, "Holy, what is this?" Right? Because I was kind of into like the Nintendo and this SNES, and it was the original PlayStation. It blew my mind. And then he plugs it in. I'm like, "Oh, what's he gonna play? What's he gonna play?" And he starts playing the Resident Evil One, and I just remember watching that beginning cutscene for the first time, the one that was like in like real time, I guess, with like real people. It was all black and white, and like the worst acting and voice acting you've ever seen in your life, And I'm watching this, and I still remember vividly the part where Bravo team lands to find Alpha team, and they find their helicopter, and Joseph's digging around in the trees or in the trees of tall grass, and he finds someone's hand, and he gets attacked by the dogs. Then you hear Jill go, "Joseph!" and he's getting eaten. It's hilarious. And then they're running through the bush, and just so happened to be out in the middle of nowhere, and there's a mansion. Let's better go in there. But growing up, there was 5 siblings in total in my family, and when my brother was playing that, all of us would just like sit around him. It was like the best gaming experience ever. And not that I was the one playing the game, but it was just we're all huddled around him because we'd never seen anything like this before, and we were all terrified. He's playing, and he's terrified, and it was just like watching a horror movie, but with your brothers and your sister, and your brother's the one in the horror movie, and it was really cool, and then it was just kind of cool to see where that like what kind of feeling that game kind of installed into you, and and then it went on to RE2 in the city, and we rented a game. I can't remember what it was, and it was back when you could do video game rentals, and it would come with a demo disc, and it was like, oh, cool, what's this? I think it was Parasite Eve, and you put the demo disc in, and it was RE2, the demo, and I was like, whoa, what? Resident Evil 2, they're making another one? This time it was in Raccoon City, and you play Leon, and it was just like, what? It's not just in a mansion, like it's an entire town. Where really it was just in a police station, but it was beside the point. It was amazing, and yeah, and it's just like, and then one Christmas, my other brother got Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and that game was just like, oh, what were they gonna do different this time? It was like, oh my god, the Nemesis is trying to kill us all, right? And it was like, wow. And after experiencing the Nemesis and that kind of cat and mouse game, horror game, it was a couple years later then RE4 dropped with Leon again. But this time it was like it was a different experience because it was a third person, but instead of like the awkward camera angles that made the game scary, you were over the shoulder third person and you were running around. It had this cool concept because you get your gold, the treasures, and you buy guns and you upgrade your guns, and it was a really cool direction for the game, and it was still terrifying because like the whole thing how you can box yourself into a house and climb ladders and get on rooftops and stuff and just running like that first scene when you go into that town and you have to survive until the bell in the tower rings. Like that was hard at the beginning. It was like, what? Like that's crazy. But then RE5 dropped. It was quite years later. I think the Xbox 360. Near the end of the Xbox 360, the RE5 dropped, and It was fun. I liked it a lot, but it was a lot different than your traditional scare tactics because they went with the co-op direction. And at first I thought that would be really, really, really cool. Like, oh, you get scared with a friend, but it actually turned out it wasn't. It takes it away. It takes away the whole feeling. The other problem that I felt that happened to this series and the franchise with the installment of RE5 was it kind of went in an action-packed setting, and it's not really Resident Evil, right? Like you got Chris Redfield, you got Jill eventually, you got Wesker, and those are all the cool original characters. And like Jill being my favorite character of all time, Leon wasn't in the game, but you know, it's a close second. He was in Resident Evil 4, and to come in Resident Evil 6, and yeah, it was just like it was almost like watching a Hollywood movie. And then continued into Resident Evil 6, which also kind of had a cool concept with the co-op, and you play 6 characters in total that have 3 different storylines that eventually kind of all intertwine in a way. But again, it was super action-packed and super Hollywood, and I feel like that was taking away from the whole series and what Resident Evil was and what it started out to be and what it was meant to be, you know? Like, a perfect example for this is Dead Space. Like, that game was terrifying, that horror survival in space, right? I remember I bought that game. I didn't even know what it was. I just bought it because the picture on the front of the case looked cool. And I turned it on by myself at 1:30 in the morning, and I got about 10 minutes into the intro, and I turned that thing off until I could play it with my brother because I was just so terrified of it. And then again, the next, like, I think 2 was single player, but 3 came out. It was co-op, and it just wasn't even scary anymore because you had a partner, like a friend there, a co-op player, or whatever. In my case, it was my brother, and you could just wreck everything. You just run through the whole game without a problem. It was just it just that takes away the whole point of the game, you know. And to get that adrenaline rush, you get that jump scare of it, and kind of sucks. And now that the series took that drop, and I think they did see that in sales and fan base. Um, they just everyone knows it's all over YouTube. It's like the biggest trending horror game right now, Resident Evil 7, and I have to say, I'm loving now where it's going, the direction this is going to. Like they dropped it back in, well, it never was in, but they dropped it into the first person view, which I've kind of been reading rumors that originally Resident Evil 1 was supposed to be first person, but then they went with it didn't really work out, and they went with the third person, little weird camera view kind of things, or bird's eye view. Yeah, and then they're going back to not only puzzles, which I loved about Resident Evil in the first place, but the jump scares. And not only the jump scares, they're even like I'm not too far in it, and if anyone's watching this, please don't post spoilers in the comments. I haven't finished it, but um, the the cat and mouse feeling that the Nemesis gave you, that's there now too, and like it's everything you loved about Resident Evil in the first place, just slammed into one game, and I love it. The only thing, the other thing I loved about Resident Evil that I haven't seen yet, I don't even think it's going to be in this because it wouldn't really make sense for this kind of for Resident Evil 7 anyways, was Mercenaries mode that came in Resident Evil 4. That was a great mode, and that was in 5 and 6, and then it went online with 5 and 6, which were were great modes, and it was actually a lot of fun with some challenge, and you could play with another player, and you get your loadouts with your favorite characters. But I can't see that coming back for this. I could see DLC content coming out for this, but not multiplayer. This I'm kind of hoping that Resident Evil kind of continues on without the multiplayer aspect, unless it was a little arcade that was completely separate from the actual game. But it's a lot of fun. Not only is Resident Evil 7 terrifying, if you get a chance, I know that it's not a huge market out there right now. The price is steep for it, but the PSVR, if you get a chance to play Resident Evil 7 in PlayStation Virtual Reality, it's going to be exclusive on the PlayStation Virtual Reality for the first year. So if you get a chance to play it in that, I'm playing it in that right now. that that makes the experience tenfold. I can't explain to you what it feels like. You feel like you're in the game. You feel like you're running for your life. Like with sound canceling headphones, like this is one of the best Resident Evil experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Things I hope they keep going with in the future with the Resident Evil series is, I don't know, keep the co-op away. Um, Maybe do it kind of multiplayer, but like kind of like what Dark Souls did with like leaving hints for people and stuff. Um, I think they've learned from their mistakes, and that was not to make Resident Evil a multiplayer game or a co-op game. Actually, sorry, multiplayer, mini games off the side, perfectly fine. But yeah, co-op, mm, it just takes away the scare factor, and I think they did learn from their mistakes. Losing money and fan base from that, it just changed it totally. Anyways, guys, that's all the time I have for today. But yeah, in the comments below, let me know what you think of Resident Evil 7 if you've had a chance to, play it or you bought it. Let me know what you think of it, and let me know what you think of Resident Evil just in general, and where you kind of want to see things going, or how you felt about the co-op before. Or if you've had an experience with the PlayStation VR in Resident Evil 7, let me know what you think about that. Because for me, it was terrifying and it was awesome. But yeah, um, if you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Anyways, take it easy.